So let's talk about the evolution or the origin of vitamin D. It's quite fascinating. Phytoplankton has been on this planet for about, I don't know, 750 million years. It's been unchanged. And phytoplankton exposes itself to sunlight and makes vitamin D. Now, there's a compound in the environment called squalene. It's an ancient molecule. It's an oil that lives between rocks by the seashore. Plants make it, animals make it, but it's a precursor to cholesterol and steroid hormones. Now, I'm not going to get into the complex biochemistry of this, but all you need to know is that that's like the raw material that eventually turns into vitamin D, because vitamin D comes from cholesterol. Now, originally, phytoplankton uses certain things from the sun's rays to create different chemicals within the living organism itself. And one of the problems way back on this planet is that we didn't have an ozone layer. So back then, without the protection of the ozone layer, there was quite a bit of damage that was created from this UV radiation. And so organisms experience DNA damage. So somehow vitamin D was created to protect the organisms from developing damage from this UV radiation from the sun. And so as time went on, this mechanism was transferred up the food chain, first into fatty fish. As you know, salmon has a lot of vitamin D, and so does cod liver oil. And so life forms took advantage of a very abundant mineral called calcium. And so they use calcium for neuromuscular communication, cellular communication, using calcium in their skeletal structure to make it very, very hard, like cement, as well as an electrolyte in the communication of nerves and the contraction and relaxation of muscles. As you know, if you don't have enough calcium, you get a lot of muscle spasms. And this is why in our own bodies, if you're deficient in calcium, you're going to get low back tightness, spasm, and pain. And so one of the most important functions in both animals and humans in relationship to vitamin D is calcium absorption and the utilization of calcium. In the small intestine, vitamin D helps absorb calcium by 20 times. So without that vitamin D, you're not going to absorb calcium and you can have a lot of problems: osteoporosis, osteopenia, osteomalacia, which is your bones become soft. And if a pregnant mother is deficient in vitamin D, that child is going to be deficient in calcium and potentially could have scoliosis, flat feet, hunchback, swayback, and even rickets, in which the legs are kind of bowed. And so I've done a lot of videos on vitamin D in relationship to your immune system, acting as an anti-inflammatory, helping prevent autoimmune diseases. But the big function of vitamin D is in what it does to calcium. And so if you're deficient in vitamin D, your bones aren't going to work. Calcium will also accumulate on the inside of your arteries, in your joints as arthritis. It can even increase risk of heart attacks. And vitamin D also works with vitamin K2 as well. We don't want to forget that. And so just as photosynthesis occurs in plants, we also have a type of photosynthesis that converts the sun not into energy in our bodies, but into vitamin D, which actually is not really a vitamin. It's a hormone. Now, if you haven't seen my other videos on vitamin D, I put them up right here. Check them out.
Hey, before you go, real quick, I have a course entitled How to Bulletproof Your Immune System. It's a free course. I want you to take it. And here's why. Here's you. Here is your environment. Everyone is focused on this over here, avoiding your environment. But what about here? What about strengthening your immune system? That's what's missing. This course will show you how to bulletproof yourself. And so you can tolerate and resist your environment much better by strengthening your own immune system. I put a link down in the description right down below. Check it out and get signed up today.